What's going on, everyone? I hope you're all doing absolutely fantastic. A lot of you are probably planning for your New Year Eve or some vacation or something, so I wish everybody a happy New Year in the coming days. Alright, so this particular product, IsoSensation, I did a review and then I've been getting a lot of messages and also chat in the comment section that I should do a more detailed review of the ingredients list. Why? That's because this thing has really an involved ingredient list. It's got a huge amount of protein, but because of this ingredient list and because of things that they have written like glutamine peptides and glutamine and all that, there are a few misconceptions. And most of these misconceptions are probably seeded by people doing misleading videos or blogs or something about it. So, because it was requested so many times, I collected all the info because I needed to collect all the info, and then I'm doing this video. So we're going through the ingredients list of ISO Sensation 93, and we're going to find out what all these things do. We're going to touch pretty much everything that's there on the ingredients list. So it's going to be probably a bit longer video. You can just grab a cup of coffee and then watch. Alright, let's get into it. First, I want to get some confusion out of the picture, and then we'll go into talking about it. So the first thing is that it's called IsoSensation 93. That's because the protein content in this powder is 93%, and it's not spiked. You achieve that by getting 90 and by adding 98% of IsoChill whey. That is the actual raw whey protein that's added to create this mixture is having 98% protein bioavailability, and then they add the other ingredients, so it comes down to 93% only. All right, so we'll first talk about the whey protein, which is done in a proprietary way. It's called IsoChill. So it's basically double cold temperature processed cross flow full spectrum premium microfiltered whey protein isolate. What does that mean? That's a huge thing. The basic things to take out of that is cold temperature process and cross flow. The IsoChill, or this whole thing that I talked about, is a functional whey protein isolation procedure where a novel ultra low temperature microfiltration process is used. Now what does it do? It leaves your whey protein undenatured. So the bioactive ingredients that are there, in some cases or in most cases, if you're doing acid treatment or some other mechanism, those particular stuffs are missing, or they are denatured or destroyed during the process. So namely, some of the important things that this company highlights is immunoglobulin, Lactoferrin, Glycomacropeptide. So these are the three things that are staying intact, whereas if other whey protein you buy, which is not through this procedure, more higher temperature or acid treated, these are actually destroyed in the process. It doesn't really come to you. Coming to the next active ingredient. Now, when I'm saying next, that means the protein is already added. That is the 98% IsoChill is added. And now we're adding the other compositions, and adding all these compositions will bring it down to 93%. So in colostrum is added. So we got to talk a wee bit about colostrum. So colostrum is for humans is the first few drops or some drops of milk-like fluid that is secreted from the mother's mammary glands. Now that's not milk. That's colostrum, and it's so much essential for the baby because it gives the baby a jolt of probiotics and healthy bacteria forming capabilities, so that the gut of the baby is fully protected. It's capable of processing the newly coming stuff to the baby because the baby's gonna start digesting and getting new things in the whole digestive tract, because just before birth the whole digestion process and nutrient delivery was happening completely through a different channel. Now that's for human, and this colostrum is used for human for so many different things like immunity, growth, tissue repair, and everything else. Now for bovine colostrum, that is the colostrum we get from cow's milk. Now that does similar things to a human being, but not that to a great extent. So bovine colostrum is used to treat and prevent infections of the gastrointestinal tract. So basically, it's again doing similar thing, but to a lower extent. That is, it gives your gut a huge amount of good bacteria forming capability so that it kind of gets rejuvenated and gets a new life. Right, so the next thing in the list is glutamine complex. Now there's a huge misconception just because of this particular thing. It's thought that this product is amino spiked and so many other things. I'll do a different video on amino spiking and amino fortification because these are two different things. But in short, just for the sake of this video, any product, not just this one, if along with the amino acid profile, so you get the amino acid profile, you add it up, see the total protein content, and you see what's they're saying in the protein content here. 30 grams in here, 30 grams in here. That's all good. And then they're saying on top of that, they're adding glutamine, creatine, doesn't really matter. This is not amino spiking. This is amino fortification. So they're adding certain amino acids thinking that it's going to do better in terms of recovery or protein synthesis, right? So that out of the way, why did they use a glutamine complex instead of just a normal L-glutamine? So I'm not writing all the things in here, but you can check out the label. But basically it's got glutamine peptides, L-glutamine or the normal glutamine that you get, and then N-acetyl L-glutamine, so the acetyl bond of glutamine. So there's three things that they add in here. L-glutamine, or the normal glutamine that you buy from any supplement brand, company, or anyone, is to a big extent useless. That's because it's a free-form, unstable glutamine. Glutamine is a conditionally essential amino acid. Glutamine is a conditionally essential amino acid. That means when your body goes through strenuous exercises or situations, the level goes down so much, body cannot produce it at the same rate. So you might want to fill it up, something like that. But L-glutamine, being a free-form amino acid, is so unstable that it's probably not going to be used in the actual intended fashion, and it would probably be used in something else by the body. However, if they use glutamine peptide, which is basically glutamine amino acid, along with or bonded with some other amino acid, so it creates a longer chain. Now this is not a free form, so it's this the basic chemistry. If you're having some free ions moving around, they're more susceptible to be bonded to something else and do something else other than what you intended to. But if you're having some compound, it's much more stable because it's already having a bond. Similar to glutamine peptide, the glutamine amino acid is bonded to other amino acids, making it much more stable so that the body can actually use it for synthesizing proteins or some other purposes for which you actually intended it. And the other thing is that N-acetyl L-glutamine. Now this is another form of the free-form glutamine, but it's water-soluble. There are tests that were done and that proved that if you have a complex or a combination of glutamine peptides and glutamine L-glutamine and N-acetyl L-glutamine, then it works probably sometimes better than normal L-glutamine or normal glutamine peptide. I'm going to leave the link in the description, so I'd request you to please go through that. But basically this is what it's doing, and please snap out of the idea it's being spiking. It's not spiking anything, it's just adding extra stuff to it. Now, just a quick pointer, the whole usage of glutamine is overhyped in the supplement industry. It just doesn't have much of a usage. So even when they add it here, it's not really that much of a use. And even if you buy glutamine from outside, that's also not much of a use, because all the trials that were done on glutamine, they were done on damaged tissue, people undergoing or undergone a surgery and major tissue damage. So that in those sense, glutamine becomes a miracle medicine sort of thing. But in normal sports nutrition, it doesn't really have that much of an effect. Alright, moving on. So the next ingredient doesn't need any talking about, it's coffee. So this is pour pure coffee in here so that you get the taste or something. There's just big granules or chunks in there, so I'm not writing it down. So the SI complex comes with, again, when they have kind of bunched those out into complexes, so the SI complex comes with three things: alpha-lipoic acid, D-pentyl, 4-hydroxyisoleucine. These things are put together to create a complex which primarily works as an antioxidant complex and also insulin regulator. When I say regulator, to release as well as control the insulin. So D-pentyl and 4-hydroxyisoleucine, these are major insulin regulators that can work on regulating or secreting actual glucose-driven insulin. So what that means? So when you grab leucine, just normal leucine, or something that is abundant in whey protein, that makes whey protein, that is leucine, then even if your body or blood flow doesn't have much of a glucose for a boost response, initially insulin is released. It doesn't have that much of glucose, but still, because leucine triggers that particular function in your brain, your body starts releasing insulin, which is unnecessary. So when they add these two things, which is D-phenetol and 4-hydroxyleucine, these are precursors for glucose-triggered insulin secretion. So what they're going to do, they're going to kind of counteract the effect of leucine, of releasing insulin just like that, but they're going to wait until your blood flow has some glucose and then start releasing the insulin into the blood flow. So it's not that leucine affected insulin release is going to be completely stopped, but these two things are going to be there to regulate the flow of insulin. Insulin is a hugely important hormone, and if you keep on taking things that keeps on spiking your insulin from time to time without any reasons, then type 2 diabetes and stuffs can creep in. So I think these two are really important things that they have added in here. And alpha lipoic acid, it acts like an antioxidant to protect your body, cell damages that happens throughout your body. Antioxidants do. So I want to stop here quickly, and I'd like to point out that when I did this review, I didn't go through the ingredient in that detail. So I did go through, but I mentioned D complex as vitamin D complex, which is not the case. D complex is actually digestive enzyme complex. So they use protease and lactase for digestive enzymes. These are natural enzymes. Protease is used for breaking down protein, and lactase is used for breaking down anything that's lactose, so the sweet thing in milk. I'm not a big fan of this enzymes added to proteins, but they've added it, and just like any other protein, I'd say okay, they've added it, that's good, but there's no extra mark for that. Next comes the natural and artificial flavors, which pretty much all of the things use. I don't know exactly what they use because they haven't written that. And then when I initially talked about, they're talking about lactoferrin, because I initially talked about lactoferrin also. That's what you can preserve when you do this particular type of whey protein extraction. Axalfem potassium and sucralose and soy lecithin. So soy lecithin is not really that bad for your body. It's used as an emulsifier and sometimes as a bonding agent also. Now, one good interesting thing about soy lecithin is that soy lecithin doesn't only have soy. It's branded as soy lecithin, so we know it's only soy. There are so many other things in it. Sucralose is the normal and the most popular sweetening agent. Now, aspartate potassium is 200 times sweeter than, if I'm right, 200 times sweeter than normal sugar, and it's also a sweetening agent. And just like sucralose, aspartate potassium also has a bunch of negative points to it. Like if you overdose it, then of course you can get certain health problems. What I found is that so far, just like maltodextrin, I didn't really find any particular study that says maltodextrin can be harmful. Yeah, we know maltodextrin can spike your blood sugar, and without any reason, if you keep on spiking your insulin level, then it can cause type 2 diabetes or something else in the long run. But similarly, aspartate potassium and sucralose, these things are artificial sweeteners, and there are a bunch of rumors around them that they might cause long-term cancer and all that stuff, but I haven't found any studies that back them. If you have any, please put those in the description, in the comment section, and I'll be glad to make a video or just publish it in the community section or something like that so that people are aware of it. So that was the full-blown review of the whole ingredient list that you got in here in IsoSensation 93. Yes, I would definitely say, and not just these guys, just anybody, switch from sucralose and aspartate potassium, things like that, to stevia or something that's much more safer, then that would be absolutely fantastic. And digestive enzyme complex is pretty much useless if you ask me, but I think they wanted to make like a full-blown product, so they added everything, and everyone adds these enzymes these days. This product is pretty old, still it keeps on adding this thing. Apart from that, I just want to highlight certain things about it, and I hope by now it's clear. If it's not clear, please let me know in the comment section. One is that Yes, it is 93% protein, and yes, you can get 98% of raw protein. I did my research and I found that in India also people do import 98% isolate protein. And when you add stuffs to it, that comes down to 93 or something. The glutamine complex is definitely not for spiking, not just for this product. Anybody that adds on top of protein content, it's not spiking. I've seen many videos. People have done videos on Nutriment, people have done videos on Ultimate Nutrition Pro Star, and so much of misconception and misleading videos are there that are saying this is protein spiking, amino spiking. It's not like that. Amino spiking is not such an easy thing to do, and when companies want to come up clear with the supplement facts and the ingredients to get the licenses that they get, it's not that easy to put those things in there. Yes, somebody with money can do a 25,000 rupees test to get a amino acid profile. That's absolutely right. These companies, their whole business depends on it. So I don't think that's such an easy thing to do. And even if it is, for us as consumers, we have all the right to understand. And I think that's how we can understand it. Not just glutamine. If someone adds a creatine just on top of it, that's just fortification. They're trying to create a new blend. That's all. But that doesn't mean they're spiking the protein content. All right. So I hope this video was helpful and would help you choose IsoSensation. In case you're planning to choose it, let me know in the comment section. I'm going to bring more videos for you, and thanks a lot for all the time you spend in watching this video, and also for encouraging me throughout. Have an awesome life, folks.